Breaking news from the Australian Open, Alexandra Eala has just won her match in a stunning upset, becoming the first qualifier to reach the quarterfinals in the tournament's history.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are not discussing a tennis match today. We are not discussing a trophy lift, a break point, or a forehand winner. We are discussing a seismic, unexpected, and, to be honest, odd change in the geopolitical landscape of professional sports that took place this week on Melbourne Park's outside courts, first quietly and then publicly. A straightforward, ordinary fact can be seen if you check at the official scoreboard for the 2026 Australian Open. The 20-year-old Filipino rising prodigy Alexandra Eala was defeated. In the first round, she was defeated. Alicia Parks, an American, defeated her in 3 sets. Alex Eala failed in the harsh world of triumphs and losses. She prepared her belongings. She purchased a ticket to return to Manila. Her tournament was a non-event by conventional standards. However, the world we live in is no longer traditional. The economy of attention is what we live in. And by that measure, it is the only one that actually determines a superstar's destiny. It wasn't simply the Australian Open that Alex Eala won. A whole was swallowed by her. Please have a look at one number. One figure has left tournament directors, sponsors, and commentators completely perplexed. Press conferences for the biggest personalities in the sport were posted on the Australian Open's official YouTube account before to the tournament. We are discussing icons. We are discussing Novak Djokovic. Carlos Alcaraz is the subject of our discussion. Naturally, we are discussing Aryna Sabalenka, the world number 2, the reigning champion, the dominant force in women's tennis, and a force to be reckoned with. For a pre-match interview, Sabalenka's press conference video received a respectable 8,000 views in its first day. Let's now examine the press conference held by Alexandra Eala, a player who had never participated in an Australian main draw match. At the time, a player who wasn't among the top seeds. 171,000 people watched her video. Give that some thought. 8,000 versus 171,000. That is not a margin of error. That's not a small advantage. The difference is 2,000%. That statistical abnormality is so significant that it shatters a graph. After examining these figures, one of the sport's most reputable journalists, Ben Rothenberg, posed a query that 2 years ago would have seemed absurd. Is Alex the most well-liked female tennis player already? Consider how ridiculous that question is. No slam has been won by her. She hasn't made it into the top 10. Nevertheless, she is already surpassing the current reigning queens of the sport. In the digital sphere, which determines Nike contracts, sponsorship deals, and TV ratings, something broke in Melbourne this week. The system that dictates that success is a prerequisite for fame broke down. Because it wasn't a tennis match when Alex Eala entered court 6. It was a pilgrimage. There was a riot. It was a coronation of culture. An error was made by the organizers. She was handled as if she were a generic qualification. She was placed on court 6, a tiny outdoor court intended for private, quiet games. They were attempting to cram a tsunami into a bathtub without realizing it. Melbourne Park was crowded with thousands of Filipinos. They were more than just seat fillers. They scaled the barriers. 10 rows deep, they crammed a standing room. They produced the kind of cacophony often associated with a World Cup final. It's not a Tuesday afternoon tennis match in the first round, and we witnessed something unheard of within that cauldron. In tennis, we witnessed the emergence of a brand new superpower. For the next big thing, we typically look to the United States or Europe. We search for the next Switch, the next Sharapova, and the next Serena. However, we were searching in the incorrect area. The West is not home to the sleeping giant of the world's sports enthusiasm. Southeast Asia is where it is located. It just woke up too. The entire globe was stunned. You have to have faith in it. Because Alex Eala is busy winning the world, while Aryna Sabalenka is busy winning matches. We're going deep today. We are dissecting the figures. The Court 6 siege will be examined. We're going to talk about the purest heated controversy over crowd etiquette. And the final question will be posed. Is this the time when tennis will never be the same? Is this the point at which the celebrity surpasses the sport? It's more than just a match report. This case study examines the emergence of a worldwide symbol. Fasten your seatbelt. The time has come. The Court 6 siege was a logistical disaster. Let's begin with the actual physical aspects of Monday's events. Melbourne Park is enormous, so you must comprehend the geography of a grand slam in order to appreciate the severity of this shock. The Coliseum, where the winners play, is Rod Laver Arena. John Cain Arena and Margaret Court Arena are available. The show courts are these. They can accommodate thousands of people, feature security information, and ticketed seating. Court 6, Court 8, and Court 13 are the outside courts. These are the tournament's working-class courts. The grinders are used there. Because there aren't many people there, you can usually hear the squeak of sneakers. Match scheduling is done by tournament directors using an interesting predictive algorithm. You go to Rod Laver if you are the greatest person in the world. You go to Court 6 if, like Eala, you are an unseeded prospect. It's common practice. However, one variable, the Filipino diaspora, was overlooked by the algorithm. The Philippines is more than just a nation. It is a worldwide network in the world of sports. In Melbourne alone, there are around 60,000 people who were born in the Philippines. And it seemed like they all rode the tram to Melbourne Park on Monday. The scene was characterized as cramped by witnesses. The walkways around Court 6 were congested long before Eala even picked up a racket. Security had to intervene not to control the game, but to control the throng of people attempting to catch a sight of a 20-year-old striking a yellow ball. This is a tennis court version of the Manny Pacquiao effect. Pacquiao's fights caused the streets of Manila to become silent and the crime rate to plummet to zero for decades. With Eala, we are witnessing the early emergence of the same thing. For these supporters, she is more than just an athlete. She represents the country's identity. Badum flags were all over the place when she left. Probability of let's drown out. The game's taking place on nearby courts, Alex. This leads us to the contentious issue. And since this is the negative aspect of his arrival, we must discuss it. The second is the battle on manners, tradition versus passion. Tennis is a quiet sport. It's a sport of courteous applause. When someone wins, you applaud. It's your fault that you remain mute. When your opponent misses a serve, you never, ever applaud. The Yarra River was reached by the crowd on Court 6 through the rulebook. When Alicia Parks double faulted, the environment was hostile, according to reports from the ground and complaints from tennis purists on Twitter. Cheers. There were roars of praise as she concealed an inadvertent mistake in the net. To her credit, Alicia Parks later acknowledged that it was challenging. That would be an understatement in terms of diplomacy. She was in a neutral nation for an away game. She was battling a wall of sound that wanted her to fail in addition to Eala. This has caused a huge controversy in the tennis community this week. Traditionalists argue that this violates the game's sacredness and is disrespectful. The modernists, on the other hand, are saying, observe the energy. Take a look at the fervor. Tennis needs this. You can't ignore this level of involvement. If you want tennis to survive in the fast-paced era and compete in the NBA and Premier League, it was raw indeed. It was alive, even though it wasn't always sportsmanship. The kind, half-asleep applause during certain center court games contrasts with that. The ELA game was important. The stakes were higher than the scoreboard. 3. The collapse, the bagel, and the contest. The scoreline reveals an intriguing tale of strain and experience. So let's examine the real tennis. The way the game began looked like it would make headlines. Eala fired as she emerged from the gates. She won the first set 6-0. In the world of professional tennis, defeating a top 100 opponent like Alicia Parks 6-0 is a statement. It implies complete control. Eala was reading Parks's large serve. She was using the electric energy of the crowd to move the ball from corner to corner. 45 minutes into the game, the excitement appeared to be warranted. Although it appeared as though she would easily advance to the second round, tennis is a harsh mental game. Alicia Parks is not inexperienced. She composed herself and delivers one of the biggest serves on tour. The momentum changed in the second set. Parks ceased to go missing. She began to hit her spots. All of a sudden, Eala was under another pressure. You get to play for free when you are the underdog. You suddenly have something to lose when the audience is yelling your name and you are winning 6-0. You stiffen up. Unintentional mistakes began to appear. The percentage of seers decreased. Eala was defeated 6-3 in the second set and 6-2 in the third. She didn't win. Here's the crucial realization, though. It was irrelevant. The hype train usually derails when a prospect gains a lot of attention and then loses in the first round. Sponsors withdraw. The media moves on. The narrative appears to have been fueled by Eala's loss. Why? Because her dominance isn't yet the focus of the plot. It has to do with her presence. Her ability to outplay a well-known American player demonstrated her potential. She is still young, as demonstrated by the collapse. However, the crowd never went away. They remained to the very end. As she was losing, they yelled her name. That's what makes a competent player different from a franchise icon. When a good player wins, they have supporters. Even when they bleed, an icon has an army. The new measure of fame for the Sabalenka comparison. Let's go back to that figure from YouTube. 171,000 views as opposed to 8,000. Aryna Sabalenka has won the Australian Open twice. She is a terrifyingly skilled tennis player. She is boisterous, humorous, and charismatic. She ought to be the main attraction. So why is she losing against world number 49 in the attention war? It boils down to a hero gap and demography. There are 9 million people living in Belarus, the home of Sabalenka. There are 115 million people living in the Philippines. However, it goes beyond simple statistics. It has to do with the hero void. Sports fans are pampered in nations like the US, Spain, or France. Alcaraz, Nadal, LeBron, and Biles are among them. They simply change the channel if one star loses. The international sporting hero is a unique and valuable resource in the Philippines. Manny Pacquiao served as that resource for 20 years. His gloves were filled with every last bit of hope for the country. Pacquiao's energy is searching for a new vessel now that he is retired. In basketball, it attempted to reach Kaisto, but the NBA dream remains unfulfilled, has settled down in Alexa. The vessel is her. She has been selected. Filipinos are not watching a tennis match when they watch her. They are observing representation. On a screen that typically ignores them, they are observing their flag. She is currently more well known in Australia than Sabalenka because of this. Sabalenka defends her team and herself. Eala battles for 115 million people who yearn to be acknowledged. For the WTA Women's Tennis Association, this is a marketing goldmine. Since Serena Williams' retirement, the WTA has had difficulty identifying the next major rivalry. The big three, Deviate, Sabalenka, and Reinterpreting, all hail from Eastern Europe. They both appeal to the same population. ILA opens up the Southeast, Asian market as a whole, not only the Philippines. Nike, Adidas, and Rolex are among the sponsors who are drooling over those YouTube statistics. They don't give a damn if she lost the first round. The fact that 170,000 people clicked on the video matters to them. What will happen next, V? What should we do next? Eala's rapid departure from Melbourne is confirmed by the news cycle. She is on a plane back to Manila to participate in the first ever WTA 125 Philippine Women's Open. This is a brilliant strategic move. After suffering a devastating loss in Australia, she is being welcomed as a hero in Manila. She is the reason behind the creation of this competition. Consider that. In order to take advantage of the Alex Eala craze, the WTA approved a new competition in the Philippines. There, she'll probably win matches. The warning flags are present, but she will strengthen her base and regain her confidence. We've already seen this film. The influence of Anna Kournikova. Before becoming a huge winner, a player becomes a huge celebrity. It might be a trap. The strain to represent a country, the photo oots, and the media commitments. It may stifle a player's growth. Alexa finds herself in a difficult situation. Despite having the game of a top 50 player, she has the fame of a world #1. The upcoming year is crucial. She must close that distance. Her fan following must be as loud as her forehand. In sports, we frequently refer to a rival as a time of triumph. When a player lifts their first Grand Slam, we consider them to have arrived. When they make it into the top 10, we consider them to have arrived. We associate the idea of conquest with the idea of arrival. However, I contend that Alexandra Eala has reinterpreted what it means to arrive. Arriving means becoming noticed. Arriving means making everyone stop browsing and start watching. To arrive is to turn a side-court first-round defeat into the evening's major event. There were 128 women in the Australian Open draw, and Alex is currently the most significant non-champion in the world, in a sport that is thirsty for personalities, new markets, and young. One will have the trophy at the conclusion of the competition. However, it made no difference who carried the trophy on Monday night on a packed, boisterous, electrifying Court 6. Who held the crowd was important. The 171,000 viewers of her news conference were waiting for a winner. Therefore, they didn't click. They wanted to hear her, so they clicked. She is no longer only a tennis player. She's a movement. She is a representation. Indeed, she is statistically, unquestionably more well-known in Australia this week than the crowned woman. The age is far from over. It's already in control. The victories will come. It's probably just a matter of time until the awards arrive. However, stardom has already arrived. The only win that really resonates in 2026 is that, while losing a match, Alex Eala has won the battle for our attention. Your host is me. This is our in-depth special report. The world is undoubtedly focused on the girl from the Philippines. Therefore, it's more crucial to keep your eyes on the ball. Good night.